If you've been thinking about wanting to start a podcast but not sure where to get started, I have some news for you. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast as well with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hi, gang. Donna here. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Shari Hammond. She is the founder and CEO of the Inspired Product Development Group and the inventor of the Behind the Cabinet Caddy. She also has helped invent Perfect Pets as well as the Go Hang It. I hope you enjoy our interview. Hi, Shari. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. You said that your son had started school today, so you have a little free time, a little time for mom.
Very excited about that.
I can imagine. A lot of your time is taken up though with what you do, which is you're an inventor, correct?
I am.
Now, were you always an inventor, or is this something that you fell into?
So my father is a retired IBM engineer, and he has about 150 patents under his belt. So he has been grooming me my entire life. And we've been tinkering and developing products and together since, I was 19.
No, my dog decided to bark. So it's like, wait a second. Sorry about that. So since you were 19, and you obviously have a good relationship with your father to be able to. So he was very much a hands-on type dad, even though he was working a lot, obviously, with IBM, because those computers, I would assume, were becoming a hot commodity.
Well, he was actually a mechanical engineer, so he did the business machines portion before the whole changeover into computers. That changeover is actually what got him to design his first consumer product.
Okay. So, and what was his first consumer product?
It was a product called CD3, which later on became Disc Gear, and it's kind of like a Rolodex for your compact disc that stores them without the jewel cases, and you dial up which one you want, lift the lid, and it presents that disc to you. And There's a little title sheet index underneath that lets you know, I'm looking for, print out your list now, click an order, find your disc, and then you know what number or slot it lives in.
And how much inspiration were you for that?
So I actually am on that patent. I helped develop the title sheet that you index your disc, like kind of the indexing system. So
nice. And so that was your first patent, and how old were you when that would happen?
19.
So what did you do? You went to college? I assume you were in college at this time, correct?
I had just started college, yes.
And what kind of degree? Go ahead.
So I was at the University of Texas, and I was studying to get my marketing degree. And a funny story, I went to one of my upper division marketing classes, and they had the Frito-Lay representative there, and they came out and they said, "Oh, most of you aren't going to do true marketing. You're going to end up in sales." Well, I had been in sales since I was 8 years old, helping my parents sell stuff in craft stores and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, heck no, I am not selling chips. So I went and I said, I know what I want to be. I want to be a graphic designer. And because I had been dabbling with that, and that was, my passion, and it's creative. And they said, congratulations, you have to start over in the School of Fine Arts. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And I went and I took Adobe classes and taught myself the programs, and kind of was a self-taught creative person, and worked my way up to be the creative director at a company called Ronco. So it was pretty exciting.
Nice. Ronco, that name sounds so familiar.
Yes. Yes. I didn't forget it.
And that was a lot of things. They invented a lot of things back in the 70s, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. They did.
So you decide you're doing your job. When did you decide that I want to become an inventor and I want to do this as a permanent thing and I want to open up my own company?
So in 2017, my dad's on his second retirement, and I've left Ronco, kind of doing my own thing, freelance graphic design, and we came across a need. You know, we found a product that was poorly executed, and I had just had an experience where I was reaching in my spice cabinet and about 10 or 15 bottles came off. One of the glass ones landed on my toe and it
Ouch.
hurt, and I was frustrated and everything. And I was like, there has to be a better way. And I was talking to him about this, and he said, I think we can invent something. And so from then, we just started that process. You know, we identify the need in the marketplace, and then we go and gather up all the things that are out there and say, you know, it's kind of an evaluation process. Can we make something that's better? Can we build a better mousetrap? And then we go from there. So that's what we did, 2017.
Wow. So you invented the spice thing, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about
Cabinet caddy.
Tell us about the cabinet caddy a little bit.
Okay. The cabinet caddy is a pull and rotate organizer that fits in your kitchen cabinet. And what it does is it gives you that extra layer. You can see it right here.
Yeah.
It gives you that extra layer of organization, and you just pull it out. I'm gonna have to reach, and then rotate it around.
Okay.
And it gives you access to what's inside.
Nice.
So it's great for crafts and prescriptions, essential oils, fingernail polishes, you know, organizing those little things in your cabinet that get lost, right? Nobody needs to find the wholesale club, you know, jugs of olive oil. Nobody needs to find those because they're big, right? You need to find those little bitty spices and stuff that get tucked in the back, that cinnamon that you bought 2 Thanksgivings ago that you haven't used, but you go out to the store and buy another one because you don't think you have any. You know, it kind of helps you organize all those things.
And organization is a big thing nowadays.
It is. Well, everybody wants to be organized. I don't know of anybody that said, I really don't want to be organized. Everybody wants that. Now, whether they can achieve it, that's the thing. And we try to create a tool that will help them easily get organized. And they're modular too. They sit side by side. So they work, this is 2 units. Mm-hmm. So it sits side by side and they work together.
Nice. So besides that, what was your next product after that you guys did?
After that, similar frustration story, my son plays lacrosse and basketball, and I was trying to hang a collage of his awards. And by the time I finished, it wasn't right. And I had about 50 holes in my wall. And again, I thought, has to be a better way. You know, like when you put it on there and then you step back and look at it, you're like, no, it needs to go up about 1/4 of an inch. And then you kind of move it and then you come back down and all that kind of stuff. So what we wanted to do is create a tool that could identify exactly where those nail holes need to go from the back of the frame where you don't have eyes. And so it's this neat product called Go Hang It, and it's right here. And it has these little magnet keys, and these magnet keys have positioning points on them. And since they're magnetic, they go up underneath the sawtooth hanger on the back of the frame. And then you pop this little level off right here. Mm-hmm. And then you put it on top of your frame and hold it up against the wall, make sure it's level. And then you push to mark your nail hole. And it makes these, you know, just tiny little indentions in the wall. So that's where your nail goes, mount your hardware and hang your picture. It's super easy.
So you said your dad was in his second retirement. So your dad is retired and you decide, hey, I need this done. I mean, did you kind of pull him out of retirement? Was he just like thrilled that he could be doing something again?
So, you know, you don't have to pull him out of retirement for anything. My dad is a person that does not stop. He's not happy unless he's doing. And so there really is no such thing as retirement for him. He will just keep on going. He's like the Energizer Bunny.
Has your son shown any interest in what you're doing as far as inventing?
He has. We often show him prototypes and things and get him to use them and give his thoughts and everything. And he helps us with the shipping. And during the summer, I put him to work. So he helps us with the shipping and everything. It's really good for him. And that's kind of the way that I grew up too. So
And it shows him responsibility at a young age. So what made you decide
Mhm.
to create this company, Inspired Product Design Group?
So we created the company because we had some success with our first product, and then we had this great idea for our second product. And I thought, you know what, we can do this. We can start a little mini company, have very low overhead, which has been incredibly helpful through, this COVID pandemic, and really get products in the hands of people via, Amazon, our own website, the Grommet, HomeDepot.com, Wayfair, and it COVID actually helped because people were at home, they wanted to get organized, and we were able to survive because had a really strong online presence.
Now I see that you guys won an award from QVC, correct?
Yes, Go Hang It got an award for the Big Find on it's QVC HSN. We actually launched for that award on HSN. So you can find it at hsn.com. It also received a GIA award from the International Housewares Association, which there are several products that are chosen. So we won that award as well.
Did you have to submit the stuff before you released it, like for the QVC thing? Did you submit to be in the award process?
Yes. Those we did have to submit. Interestingly enough, we were just chosen as the #1 picture hanging solution that you can find on Amazon by a completely unsolicited blogger. We were pretty excited about that one.
Yeah, that's I mean, because a lot of times the awards you have to submit. So when you get something random like that, that's awesome. So what is the next product that you're thinking about working on?
So the great thing of what we do is we listen to customers. We listen to feedback on our existing products. And the next product that we're coming out with is called the Cabinet Caddy Snap. And you'll notice that this has a top,
Mm-hmm.
so it has limitations, and it also has fixed shelves. Now with the Cabinet Caddy Snap that's going to be launching in October, it has adjustable shelves that snap in. So our product can snap in shelves at 5 different locations on either side to suit your needs.
Nice. So, this is one thing that's always posed to inventors, but you already have your company. But, the inventor question is, so would you ever go in Shark Tank?
Gosh, I can't tell you the number of times I've heard that.
See, that's exactly why I said it.
If you would have asked me a year ago, I would have said, no way. I'm not confident enough, or I don't know, but the value, even if we didn't get a deal, but the exposure would be great. So I don't know. I might. And in the Houseware Show I think it's going to be in March this next year. It's been canceled a couple times, but it's going to be in March in 2022, and we're on the Shark Tank aisle. I made sure that I put our booth on the Shark Tank aisle. So
nice. You never know what you might say. You never know what might happen then. Never know.
You never know.
So basically, you go to the trade shows right now. This is how you're building your business, and it's a lot of online sales. What do you, besides the product that's releasing in October, are there other ideas that you guys are working on together?
Yes, we are working on more organizational stuff, maybe for cans, and there's always a few things in the pipeline. We probably have about 5 projects going at a time. Now, through the inventing process, some of them come to fruition and some of them don't.
Right.
So we've experimented with some basketball products, some golf products, some cell phone products, but some things, just make it, and some don't. One of the things that we try to do always is it has to have a wow factor. You have to, like with this one, you pull and rotate it around, and there's your stuff, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. So our products have to have a wow factor and definitely serve a need and have a large target.
And that makes sense. Makes total sense. So when you were 8 years old, you opened a kiosk at a mall?
So when my dad was working in IBM, he's always loved woodworking, and he started woodworking as a hobby, creating lamps and LP holders. Boy, I really dated myself with that one.
No, well,
But
wait. LPs are now back in vogue, so you're okay.
That's true, but we don't do wood crafts anymore. But we could sell them as antiques. So in Highland Mall, which is here in Austin, we lived in Austin at the time. We started developing these wood products, little lollipop trees, personalized calendars with hand painted decorator magnets. And my mom taught me how to paint, so I would paint the magnets. They had me sitting at Artist Harvest painting magnets in a little table, and people would come up and just like, oh, that's the cutest thing, and they would buy just because I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, she taught me how to paint, and I took calligraphy classes so I could personalize the calendars and everything. So I would take naps underneath the kiosk. It was, it's just what we did. That's what my weekends were about. I would sling and stain, staining those woodworking products. And that kiosk actually did well, and we had Huntswood Crafts all over malls in the state of Texas for a while.
Wow. Well, the LPs are back. You could make an LP organizer.
We could.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Except they're a lot more expensive than they used to be.
I know, right? I pay like $20 a pop.
Yeah, and even the used stuff is like more expensive than when we bought it new. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. So you're a single mom. You have a 13-year-old son, correct?
Yes.
So how has that been, being a mom plus an inventor and still being the full-time mom and taking care of all the duties that you have to with your son? I mean, having a normal job is going to put certain parameters on you, but being your own boss, that changes. Mm-hmm. So how has that whole transition worked for you? I mean, has it been freeing?
It has been freeing in an amazing way. We don't have people, I love that. They're like, what are your business hours? 8 to 5? And I'm like, no, they're not. It's like 9 to 3, and then 6 to 7 on one day, and then 4 hours on Saturday, maybe 4 hours on Sunday. You just work whenever you need to get what you need to get done. And launching in 2017 and then going through the pandemic, that kind of just reinforced that whole methodology of the workplace, basically. So it's nice to be able to say, I've got to go pick up my son, or have my dad around and say, hey, I've got to crank some stuff out. Can you go pick him up? So it's really nice being your own boss.
What's it like for you and your dad to sit down and actually, on a day that you're trying to create a project, is it one of those things where one of you gets this aha moment and the idea comes, and then it's like, okay, let's sit down and let's try to figure this all out? What is that like for you? Is it a crazy, chaotic day? Do you guys listen to each other really well, or is there a lot of push, pull, back and forth?
There's a lot of push, pull back with us, because he sees things way differently. He's very pie in the sky, big picture thinker, and I'm the one that comes in. I always say I'm the voice of reason that comes in and is like, I don't know about all that. But at the end of the day, we really check and balance each other, and we start almost every single day with a walk. The business is on he's got his home and the business on his same property in Georgetown. It's on 16 acres. And we have walking trails throughout the property. And so we start the day with a mile walk and discuss what needs to happen, what projects, what challenges, and everything. So it's just a great way to be active, continue an amazing relationship with my dad, and have a little meeting and get things done.
And I would think it would be a little bit grounding too, because you're out in nature and you're able to walk, except when it's really, really hot, because I know it gets brutal down in Texas.
It does, but nothing like the snowmageddon we had here a few months ago.
I'm in Chicago. Snow is not a big deal anymore. I mean, sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not.
Yeah.
It's when it's the negative wind chill or wind chill negative 40. That's when there's a problem for me.
Mhm. Yes, I get that, but Texas was just not equipped to
No,
handle, gosh, what is it, 2 weeks of like 7 degrees? Mm-mm.
I lived in Texas back in the late 80s, early 90s, and I remember them shutting down stuff. And my first apartment I lived in, what I was sharing with some people, was right off a hill, and it was outside of Dallas. And we watched people. Logic would say you're not going to make it up the hill, but they tried.
Yeah.
Yes, they tried and they tried. It's like, okay, next up, here we go. It was amusing, but anyway, I digress. So you are is your son the kickboxer, or do you have some kickboxing? This wasn't quite clear.
So I enjoy kickboxing. I just my son and I actually used to do kung fu together when he was really young, and then I discovered a place called 9 Rounds, and I love it. It's a great quick workout, and it's not kickboxing in the traditional sense where you go to a gym and you get in a ring and you kickbox somebody else. It's called 9 round kickboxing. So it's a circuit exercising where you have 9 individual stations and you kind of work your way around the room. But it's great fun. They have great trainers, and it's great for fitness in a 30-minute window.
Nice, nice. And dog lover, I see too. So what kind of dog do you have?
Mm-hmm. So we have 3 dogs. We have one golden retriever, 100-pound golden retriever. She's a big girl. And then we have a rescue from Austin Pets Alive, and she's laying here in the floor. But her name is Zoe, and she is amazing and the smartest dog I've ever owned. And then we recently got a Great Pyrenees, which is half Great Dane, Great Pyrenees, and he is
Huge,
all puppy and huge. He's 8 months and all of like 110 pounds. He's going to be a big boy.
We were at the vet once, and somebody had a Portuguese water dog or water hound. And I remember the girl had him, and he thought he was a lap dog. She's sitting in a chair, and there's like 3 other chairs next to her, and he's filled those chairs up, and his head is resting on her lap. And she's like, yeah, he thinks he's small. I'm like, and she was a petite thing. It's like, how do you manage him? She's like, he's gentle. He doesn't like water. He likes to just chill. But I mean, he was a massive dog. John's like, you could put a saddle on him and ride him around because he was just so huge. But so you're born and bred in Texas?
Yes, born and raised, one of the few. I'm not a transplant. I was born in St. David's Hospital in Austin, Texas. Stuck around.
And I take it you're going to stay in Texas.
I believe so. I love it here.
Yeah, some people love Texas. Some people, it's one of those things. I know there's a lot of people from California that are moving over that way.
They are.
And in
they
fact,
are coming in droves.
One of my guests last week, Ricky Duran, he actually moved from Massachusetts down to Austin, and he's got some music he's doing down there. So, and
nice. Nice.
Yeah, I've always, and I know Texas or Austin is the big music scene. It always has been. So concerts and everything are starting to happen there, correct? I mean, is there some normalcy returning?
There is some normalcy returning. Of course, the COVID records with the Delta variant are starting to kind of creep back up. So everybody's kind of being a little cautious, but I'm pretty sure that unless it gets incredibly bad, that we're going to stay open here in Texas. We're not going to shut down. I hope.
I think we all hope right now. I mean, some places are actually shutting down again. So let me ask you, Perfect Pets, what was that?
Perfect Pets was lifelike breeding puppies and kittens. So they sleep, and they have a little. Dad developed this little bladder inside, and the bladder goes up and down.
Nice.
And it looks like it's breathing and just sleeping. So it's, since it's made of fake fur, it's hypoallergenic and everything. So little pet. It comes in a little bed. They're super cute. They're still around today. We ended up selling that brand, so they're
Nice.
still around today. You can find them in Cracker Barrel.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Although it's good luck finding a Cracker Barrel. We used to have several up here, but I don't think that we may have one or two still. I don't know because a lot of
We've
them
got them
close
here in Texas.
down. So, what did you haven't really talked about your mom. Was she in part of this, or was there, how does she fit into all of this, or does she just look at you guys and go on?
Well, Mom, she was a part of, Huntswood Crafts, of course, and the calendars, and we still do calendar refills every year. We have little old ladies that send in their refill orders, and we mail them their calendar refill every year. They've been doing it for 30, 40 years.
Wow.
And she actually passed in the end of 2019.
I'm sorry.
So she's, but yeah, she was a creative force to be reckoned with. She really was. And really, like I said, she taught me how to paint and made sure that I was creative, had a creative outlet. And that has really, led me to be a graphic designer. And then in on product development side, my dad's creativity there, it was a good match. It was a good match, and she's been a big part of my life.
I mean, I'm sorry for your loss, but I think most likely, because I know a lot of widowers have a hard time after their spouse passes. So I'm sure you working with your dad has been an incredible gift for him.
Absolutely. And keeping him active and out there. And with my son being as active as he is, man, we really enjoy going to see basketball games. And he's, from Kentucky. So it's a big basketball state up there. And so that's kind of in our blood.
So what do you hope? Are you going to be doing any more graphic design stuff? I mean, do you still do that on the side, or you just focus on inventing?
So with our company, I am in charge of, obviously we do the inventing process, but I do the packaging, the graphics. I do have a team member that helps with our digital marketing and everything, but we do everything in-house. So create labels, do boxes and sales sheets and presentations, and so it all comes in handy.
So did you do a lot of cooking? Is that what, I mean, I know the spices fell out at you, and I know that inspired the idea, but I mean, are you an avid cook as well, or?
I'm not a foodie per se, but when I worked at Ronco, I was in charge of doing the rotisserie cookbooks and everything, and lining up the photography, really the creative aspect of doing the recipes and all that kind of stuff. So I did a lot of cooking in that time. That kind of taught me a few things. I tend to cook simple things like spaghetti and chicken and pork chops and, good old Southern food.
But when you think about it, your time at Ronco actually helped you. I mean, it taught you a lot of marketing stuff here for your own stuff, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that goes back to being cost effective, because an outside marketing and outside graphic designer is going to cost you money.
Yes.
That's the money.
Yes, they do.
So what do you hope to see in the future as far as the longevity of the company? I mean, is this something that you plan on doing for the rest of your life, or you plan on hitting it big, getting a deal, and walking away?
Gosh, for right now, our goal is to invent one product a year and get it out there in the marketplace. And, where that takes us, I'm not sure, but I love what I do, and I want to keep on doing it. I've heard a lot of people, I get emails all the time, people wanting to buy our company and stuff. And I'm like, what? Why would I just can't, it's my baby. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's not very, old. It's just 2017, just 4 years. So looking forward to where, where we'll be in 5 years.
This is true. And I mean, some people look at it and I just want to cash out. I did this and I want to cash out. And that's the difference between it being a passion and you doing it for money. And I'm not saying that you're not doing it for money, because obviously there is a financial component to this, but when it's your passion, you want to hang on to it.
Right. And what would somebody else do with those products? Would they take them? And I mean, you don't know. They're like your
Yeah.
little babies. And so
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
make sure that they're going to be well taken care
And that, I mean, that's one thing about going on a show like Shark Tank. You're giving away a lot of your control.
of. Mm-hmm.
And that can be a hard thing. So what do you like to do for fun?
So aside from kickboxing, I enjoy going to my son's basketball games first and foremost. I enjoy taking walks with my dad. I was a part of this group, and they said, well, we want to talk to you about your challenges with, in your personal life and in your family life and in your business life. And I'm like, oh, that's just like one big thing for me. Everything's all intertwined. But I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, most people wouldn't understand that because their life, I mean, we tend to put our life in compartments, and that can be a hard thing. So how hard did it affect you and your dad when your mom passed? I mean,
she had COPD and had a pretty steady decline for about 5 years. And so it was during that last year, she was in hospice for probably 6 months, which is a pretty good long time. It was really hard. It was hard. That was when we were trying to get our first product off the ground, working on developing this second product, but at the same time, it did give us something to focus on and kind of have good distractions, but while at my dad's place in the home where my mom was. So she was always there and could be attended to if she needed it. But it was hard. Of course, men and women and husbands and daughters handle grief differently, but it's an individual process, and she was ill for such a long time that I thought when she passed that I would have been prepared, like you're mentally preparing yourself during that entire time. Yeah. But when it actually happens, you're never prepared. No. And you just, you'd be sitting there and somebody could say something about like her favorite color and just, you lose it. And, that happened for a good 6 months after she passed. But we did a lot of things in her honor, and in the walking trails, we have like an area where part of her ashes are spread, and we planted some bluebonnets around there because she really loved bluebonnets. So every spring they come up and kind of reminds us of her.
Nice. I mean, that's the one thing when you are grieving, you need something to focus on. You need something to be able to, dare I say, bring life to things, because it keeps you motivated. Otherwise, it's very easy to get sucked into that hole of grief. And it can be a very dark hole. Absolutely. So, what do you think? Do you think your son, do you think he does work for you, sort of? Do you see him maybe working side by side like you and your dad do eventually?
Gosh, I hope he goes to the NBA. That's what I hope.
Okay.
But, there's always plan B. We always talk about there has to be a plan B. School's incredibly important. He's very much, like me. He loves science. He loves to create things. He's incredibly agile. He's a very good basketball and a very good lacrosse player as well. So I'm excited to see where that takes him, and hopefully he can take that all the way to the NBA. That would be really nice.
Yeah. I mean, and if he's, if he can keep college going with the business aspect of things, that would be good. That's the one thing. Talking to Ricky, he actually had gone to Berkeley for music business. So when he went on The Voice, he was aware when they explained the contract to him, he was aware of all the pitfalls because he had that behind him. So, as much as you like to think, oh yeah, just go straight to the, don't take your education serious because you got this. You never know what can happen. So it's always best to have something to fall back on.
You always need a plan B. And I always tease Pearson about, when he goes to college, wherever he's going to go play ball. And I was like, I'll just go get an apartment and you can live with me. And like your friends can come over. I can be your D&D and we can take you places and stuff. And he's just like, Mom, no way.
Well, and you know, now they are, I think they've allowed the college players, I think they're changing some of the laws so they can benefit from their likenesses, which is good because for too long, these guys haven't made any money and they're being, dare I say, used to a certain extent.
Yeah, to a certain extent. Yeah.
So what else would you tell? Well, what would you tell a person that's thinking about inventing something?
So the most important thing about the inventing process is prototyping. You want to make sure that whatever you created, you test and get in the hands of a few of your friends and use it and make tweaks. And we probably go through 3 or 4 rounds of prototyping before we sign off on the molds and everything. And so that is really key. You don't want to, you know, take shortcuts and end up having to do, you know, once a mold is done, it's pretty set in stone. But you just don't want to end up having to make changes down the road. You want to make sure that you vet that product really well and get it in the hands of people. And, you know, again, always make sure that you understand what you're trying to do. You know, we want to create products that make people's lives easier. That's our mission statement. And it has to do that. It has to have a wow factor, it has to have a large target market. You don't want to create the wheel, you want to reinvent the wheel, right?
Right.
So that's our plan.
When do you go for your patent usually?
As quickly as possible. So that's another thing. You can get a provisional patent and get your foot in the door and still have protection on your item. But then really, I've found that it's helpful to hire a patent attorney to help you with all those documents. I try to do it myself. The first 2 products that the 2 products that we have now, and you get those letters, like you submit it and everything, and then all of a sudden 6 months later they're like, you didn't separate this paragraph from this paragraph and have this paper on this side, and all this kind of stuff. And so just let somebody know what you know and know what you don't know, and let somebody do the things that you don't know. So.
Well, it's like hiring a plumber to fix your car. It's not going to work.
Right.
Not going to work. Not going to work at all. So when you go, do you go to a lot of the houseware shows and everything? You were, you know, so you do that, or do you just hit one, and the big one that's usually here in Chicago?
Yeah, I went to my first IHA, or it used to be the houseware show, with Ronco. So I was very familiar with that world. You know, I created our booth and the design of all that kind of stuff. And so I was very familiar with that. And then, so we were super excited to take our product there and be on the Shark Tank aisle. And, you know, 2 weeks before they had to cancel it. So we haven't been to a trade show, you know, really with our product, at least in Chicago. We did do the International Hardware Show, and we are attending that one as well in October this year in Vegas.
Do you ever do any local homeware shows, you know, houseware shows?
So we used to, and we did prior to that do those like Austin home shows and everything. And that's a great place to hone your pitch, to really get in front of people and start talking through your presentation and figure out, you know, what people respond to and what they don't. That's a great place. You know, we don't feel like we necessarily have to do that with the Cabinet Caddy Snap, because it's just an upgraded version of the Cabinet Caddy. But if we ever create another product that's not in that, you know, kitchen organization space, like for instance, a basketball product, you know, we'll definitely go back into the grassroots shows and kind of learn and hone your pitch there. It's a great practice, and it's a low cost entry too. So that's
always smart. So the first time you ever saw one of your products that you worked on and you created, when you first saw it in the store, how was that?
It's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. You know, with this gear, we definitely saw that. Perfect Pets definitely saw that. I always think it's funny when I'm going through Goodwill and, you know, we're well past the disc storage stage, right? And all of a sudden I'll look over and I'll see one of our storage units. Or if you, I was very much involved in the creative and the photography for those those companies as well. So like if you Google disc gear, there'll be an image with my hand reaching in and pulling the disc out, or
Nice.
something like that. So I am all over the internet in a good way.
That's always important. You best preface that, because you don't want to be on the internet in a bad way. There's some like that, but
Not me.
So yeah, I mean, I would imagine seeing your own stuff in the marketplace is kind of thrilling. So does your dad sometimes ever tell you that has he talked to you about turning over the reins to the company to you? Or is this still, is this going to be a joint effort, or is he going to retire again?
I don't think he's going to retire again. We definitely have it set up where I'm the majority owner so that I can, take it and run with it. One of the things that we have talked about is, he's not going to be able to invent and forever. So, possibly finding an engineer that we can start to work along side by side and really be able to have a partner that I can create products with, long after he's gone. But we don't want to talk about that.
No, those are those conversations nobody wants to talk about, and I get that. I get that completely. And you never know. Maybe you meet an engineer, and if you never know where that relationship may go. So
that's true.
Never know.
I do like a good engineer.
So, what piece of advice would you tell your son about pursuing a dream?
Don't ever quit. If it's what you want to do, just keep chipping away at it. People will start to notice. One of his character traits is that kid has grit. He really does. And and he's got that passion and fire for basketball, which you can't teach. No. So it's really, all the coaches have said that about him, and I'm super stoked and to see where he ends up. But even if that doesn't work out and he gets injured or something like that, that grit and that fire will take him a long way in business. But you can't ever give up. If it's what you want to do, you can't ever give up. Now you can reevaluate and pivot, change directions a little bit, but just keep on trucking.
How many times when you were first developing your first products did you think about giving up?
Never. It's just not an option. Well, I mean, part of that though is me working for my dad, right?
Yeah.
You don't disappoint dad.
No.
You just keep on going. So that is, never thought about giving up.
So you've never had a thought either when you've presented an idea that he's going to think this is stupid. You just present it in and see where it goes.
Oh, that's often an interesting process, because some of the things he comes to me with, I'm looking at him like, man, you're crazy. And some of the things that I bring to him, he's like, meh, I don't think so. And so again, we really balance each other out. So it can be funny. You should be a fly on the wall. It's pretty funny at times.
Well, I'm thinking the perfect pets. I mean, that had to be, whose idea was that?
Okay, so Dad was he was with doing CD3 and disc gear, and he was at Canton Fair in China, and he rounded the corner, and there was a crowd of people looking at this black fake robotic cat just laying there on the floor, and it had it was making this really weird noise when it breathed. Then it did some other things. And so that's what really sparked that idea. He was like, they're just sitting there watching this thing laying on the ground. Now it did do other things, but he's just like, I bet you we could create, a lifelike looking one that looks better, one that breathes better, but that's all it does. And it comes with a bed and a little adoption certificate. And that's when you get on the marketing side of things and get people kind of hooked in. But that's where that came from. Again, don't invent the mousetrap, build a better one. So
Well, I mean, you can sit here and look at two things that from the past that were very popular, and you can scratch your head and go, "Why?" I mean, the pet rock
Hmm.
and Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah.
When Cabbage Patch Kids came out, I was in high school, and it was crazy. I mean,
Oh
that
no.
Christmas when they came out, you couldn't find them anywhere.
Uh-uh.
And why is that?
I don't know.
It
They're
was
really
just what
ugly.
it was just one. Yeah, it was just one of those things where everybody's like, "Oh, I have to have this," and
Hmm.
it wasn't anything but the right marketing
Hmm.
and the need.
And there's very few things in that we are invented each year that are like truly new concepts. Like the one thing that comes to mind that was like truly new was post-it notes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was groundbreaking. You know, whoever invented post-its, but that was really a game changer. And so there's very few. Sometimes you hit the nail on the head, but it's often having a need because nobody's done it just right yet. And uh, and again, part of the process is listening to your customers. We've got some new picture hanging elements that we're going to add to the Go Hang It and improve that unit. And so it's just constantly creating and bettering your products.
Have you thought about doing anything with TikTok to get your products out there? Because I mean, I've seen things blow up on TikTok, as we all have.
Gosh, you know, I am just past that age
I
where
get
all
it.
that kind of stuff is appealing. And I wish I was 10, 15 years younger where it would make sense to me. But it's a really time marches on moment when somebody comes up and goes, "Oh, I did this TikTok thing," and I'm just like, "No, I don't get it." I get Facebook, I kind of get Instagram, but after that, I'm starting to feel a little old.
There's some older people on TikTok, and the funny thing about it is like the yoga pants that blew up. Basically, they're padded pants, but they blew up. There's a pair of yoga pants that make everybody's butt look good. I don't have them, but I mean, about a month ago, it was like hot fire on TikTok. Everybody, one person, wow, she looks amazing, so I'm going to buy them. So then everybody started buying.
Uh-huh. And it's
So
just like a padded, curvy
yeah,
butt in your.
yeah, they make your legs
Oh,
and your butt look good, and that's why we're all
I
doing
don't
it.
need any extra padding back there. I'm quite plenty.
But I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like if something hits right on TikTok, it blows up, and it's why I don't know because
It's
it's
good
all
to
an
know.
algorithm.
Might have our digital marketing person look into that.
You might, because I mean, if you get somebody hanging your picture with their picture design,
Mhm.
showing somebody, because there are how-to videos and they're just small little how-to clips.
Okay,
And even
good to know.
YouTube's are doing short films now too. You can do
Yeah,
shorts. So,
I
these
get
are,
YouTube. I get that.
yeah. So anything else you want to add? Anything you want to tell the
Uh,
viewers or anything?
yeah, so go look at our website, inspiredpdg.com. You can sign up for a newsletter and always be in the know about the new products that we're coming out with. Like I said, we're going to launch the Cabinet Caddy Snap in October. We've got a little tease up there, and it's going to be good stuff. Of course, you can always find us on Amazon and everything, but inspiredpdg.com.
Okay. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to the Better 2 podcast. Your listenership is greatly appreciated. If you like what you hear, remember to hit subscribe. We also have our videos on YouTube. They're usually posted the same day as the podcast, and you should check it out. If you have a question or you would like to be a guest on the show, please drop me an email, and I'll be glad to talk to you about it. The email is Donna, Dauna, at thebetter2podcast.com. Thanks again for tuning in, and catch you next time.